SlapTail Squad, assemble.
I am the Beaveman. This is the SlapTail Squad. And if you're listening to us, hopefully you're a member of the SlapTail Nation and you love me.
And me.
Ronz is optional.
I'm optional.
It's a beautiful Father's Day in Michigan, and with me, as always, most of the time, anyway, the majority of the time, is the Ronz.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, he's getting it. He's getting it. It's not as exuberant yet, but.
By the way, I just want to mention I have not seen any political ads for yellow-based coffee cup lead paint. So it's working.
Is that the platform? So I have been successful.
I think so.
All right.
I didn't even get an introduction.
Also with us today.
Okay, good.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's not nice.
Is the Swan.
The Swan.
Hi.
The Swan. Before we get started today, I think it's important for us to have a public announcement from Skylar and, the friend of the SlapTail Squad who does our music for us, some of our music for us. He has a public announcement. Ronz, are you ready for it? Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it then.
Skylar Films thing. What's up, man?
Who the fuck are you? Where the fuck you stay? Now back up, 6 feet away. You ain't got no mask on, I ain't trying to deal with that. I don't know where you been, I'm just trying to rap. Man, you better keep your social distance. I ain't trying to get sick, and it's my insistence that you protect yourself, cause that shit's important. I wear my mask when I whip in my foreign. My car be going, the ladies say, but I love my girlfriend, so I turn them away. I take precautions, I don't risk off, and I be reppin' Kalamazoo till I'm dead in my coffin.
If you or a loved one has been affected by social distancing, and you feel as though you don't have to wear your mask, and you can go on vacations for some reason with all of your friends, who are these people? Why are you going on vacations now of all times? And why posting it on Instagram with fake captions about how you're being safe? I don't have a joke here.
All right. Oh, a little important public announcement from the sky. This guy, man.
A little technical advice. A little technical advice here. Love it. I really do. But I think that should have been led into our intro. That should be our intro for this week.
Well, I can put it in anytime. I'll put it in again at the end. I'll preface it, but I wanted you to hear it as part of the podcast.
Oh, I really do like it. Now, he wrote that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did all the music for it and all that? That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, good times.
Good times. Good times.
And a happy Father's Day to you, sir.
And a happy Father's Day to you, too.
Are you going to be helping your wife grow her garden?
I am. In fact, what I have done so far...
He's going to be tending the garden later.
I'm going to be
tending the garden. Do you also weed and trim the garden?
I don't. That's her job. That's her hobby. I am more of I like to be outdoors. I like to...
He likes the full bush garden. Full grown.
No,
so
I
would you say that you enjoy the fruit of the garden? Is that what
I do?
But you don't help.
I kind of
don't help to tend the garden.
Bear.
Oh, you like the garden bear?
Yeah.
But today
I don't like a bear garden. I don't like a bear garden. I don't like weeds in the garden, and I don't like an overgrowth in the garden. But I also don't like a bear garden, because a bear garden to me is can I say that a bear garden, in my opinion, is prepubescent.
Understood.
Are you understanding the references to the garden now?
I got it right away, actually.
Oh, you did get it right away. Oh,
I'm sorry if you're slow enough on Father's Day. You're allowed to be, but I got it right away.
Speaking of Father's Day, this is my gift for Father's Day. Can you see it?
Wow, that's awesome. Please take a picture, and we will put that on our website and on our Facebook page.
Funny thing, because I like to mess with my children. My son gave me this and said, how he created it, etc., etc. I'm like, well, honestly, I commissioned the drawing of this, so really you just took an existing...
He copyright infringed.
Yeah, nothing like, says Father's Day, of throwing your kid in jail under the bus and saying, hey, it's about me today. Go away. Because without those kids, though, Father's Day would still exist. Right?
Just not for you if you weren't a father.
Yeah.
I guess. Yes, technically, even if you've already committed infanticide or something like that, you're still technically a father, I guess, and you can still celebrate Father's Day.
That is a
That
very
would
dark
be fucked
thought.
up.
Yeah, I agree with the Swan. That's a very dark thought. But
well,
no,
if you've listened to our podcast before, you know that is my way of thinking.
Yeah.
Is it not?
No, I totally agree. Speaking of which,
the Ronz is one of the most optimistic people when it comes to the podcast. Would you not say so, Ronz?
Sure, I'll toot my own horn. I'll say I'm trying to be optimistic this week.
I was waiting for the rest of that sentence. He's like, sure, I'll toot.
I'll toot.
Mhm.
I have gas.
My own horn.
I will try and be optimistic. This week's been a crap fest. If you're on my regular Facebook, you have seen what my key did to my ignition.
I saw that. That's awful.
What happened? Tell me what happened. I'm not even know. The listeners are also not probably on your regular Facebook, so what happened?
No, that's quite okay. So what happened, as it gets hot, the locking or ignition mechanism swells up and does not accept my key. Right? And you have to crank it a couple of times. I mean, you really have to get the tumblers to click and everything. And when you do that, you twist that key really hard. And I noticed it was going and going. And I told my family, be easy on the key. And it just, at the wrong time, it snapped.
Who broke it?
I did.
Oh, well, at least you have no one to blame but yourself then.
I do. I blame everybody around me because that's the way the world works. So,
well,
no, I
that's
don't
reasonable.
blame it.
It is.
I knew it was going to happen. My son said, hey, Dad, we got to do something about it. I said, don't worry about it. And it bit me in the ass. So I take the responsibility for it. It's my fault.
I think it's bizarre that if your son gave you this advice and you said, don't worry about it. Now, isn't he in school to be a car mechanic?
A car mechanic, but not mechanic. What is a mechanic?
He's in school to be a car mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
And
yes,
so why did you tell him not to worry about it?
Because my key still worked.
You felt your opinion was more valid than his opinion in that regard.
No. Let's go into the dark side of me. I'm an introvert and I don't like problems. So if something,
are you an introvert?
Oh,
he's an extroverted introvert.
Exactly.
I get it.
See, she's one of us. No,
I'm not one of you.
I try to defend you every time you mess
No,
up.
you really didn't, and I'm going to bust you out here soon, but I want to hear your story. Please continue.
But what happens is if a problem doesn't have to be dealt with, I don't deal with it. Now, I'm slowly changing with it, my attitude that, let me, how do I say this correctly? If it works still, it's good. However,
yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, but what about preventative maintenance? You're not all about that? You're not about changing your oil to make it better?
Why? The oil in there still works, doesn't it?
Ooh, that's a bad problem.
No, I agree with you. But at this point, everything was still working. And it's just, I should have moved the car into the shade. I didn't. I was working outside. You foresee these problems, but if they never happen, it's just wasting time sometimes. And it's my fault. That's all I can say. I screwed up and it's just been a really crap week. And then my wife went and got,
ooh, I want to have one of those.
I got to flip the image. I'm just doing this for my own benefit.
It's the right way.
No, it is when you guys see it?
Yeah.
Oh, so when I see it, it's not. It's reverse.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
In case our listeners don't know, the Beaveman just put up his backdrop saying the SlapTail Squad.
With the logo. It looks
logo.
pretty sweet.
So, anyway, where was I? I tend to
Squirrel. Happy
Squirrel.
things.
Yeah, happy things. This was my fault. It was preventable. I did not prevent it. I can do nothing but accept the blame. Right? And that's the way it goes. I
Do
really
you think part of that was you're like, because your son said it to you, you're like, fuck that, I know more than you,
And he's
don't
like,
worry about
karma's gonna get you.
No,
He set you up.
no. This was my own doing. I have to take it. One of the things you have to do as an extrovert introvert is you either have to wise up and take your lumps and take the responsibility, or you go crawling back into the cave that you crawled out from to deal with the world, but the problem still exists.
Well, that's an annoyance, though. So what are you going to do now to fix it after you've sworn and you're really pissed off at no one in particular and mad at the world as that happened? Were you able to drive your car, or what did you do? Did you have to, like, break it in there or turn it
No.
some
The
special
key
way?
was stuck in there.
No,
right?
the key wasn't. It was just
It just broke.
It just broke.
Okay.
You
Well,
know
that's
where you
good,
grab
though. That's good that it didn't get broken in the lock. That's good.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So what we did was then we tried Carrie's key, right? And it didn't work. We had to wait until like 2 or 3 in the morning to start the car because the metal, it started to cool down. So it did, and then we backed it up into the shade. And I said, okay, let's see if we can get this thing fixed. She took it to a mechanic, and that's where it sits right now. They're going to change out the tumbler locks on it. And on top of that, she got a car. They gave us a loaner, but the downside is she only got a 100 miles limitation on the driving. So we have to be very careful where we go in town so we don't use it all up. Because on a weekend, you know that. If you're going anywhere, you can easily go, what the hell was that? You can't see me?
It's just a still
You're
image.
stuck.
Oh, like
I mean, the reason why I brought that up is with the chat is so that I didn't have to interrupt the podcast. I was just
no, nothing to distract me from my rant.
Apparently, it's pretty easy. I mean, here's the shiny penny
Flashy
again.
things.
Here's a shiny penny. Shiny penny. Here's a shiny
Squirrel.
penny.
So the last time we got a loaner free of charge, we had unlimited miles and we went just about anywhere. But now having on a hot day, we couldn't go out to we couldn't go out to South Haven, right? Which is where I really wanted to go for the last 2 days.
Do you know how packed that's going to be today with a bunch of retards?
Yeah, so.
He's like, and what do you think I am?
Well, I didn't say I was one of those, but I go out there. This is what the podcast is about. Me interacting with the people.
And that's another annoyance that you had to deal with. This is, you know what I love about this podcast? One of the things that I love about this podcast, other than hearing about the crazy things that the Ronz does, I like it because it is my chance to vent and rant and rave. And it's almost a regular segment for us where I will do that. And we call this, the title would be just another bitch session, and with the number of the episode after it, because that's basically what it's going to be.
You know what? And I'm going to get back to that too. I think that's great because I was listening to some of our previous podcasts, and I don't think we bitch enough.
You think so? Yeah, I think you're right. Why aren't we complaining more?
Well, there's a difference between complaining and bitching. Bitching has that overtone of humor to it. Complaining is, what are we going to do about that? Right? The Swan did not get the Office reference this week. What are we going to do?
Yeah,
right?
It's a little bit. You're right. Complaining is a little bit more morose. A little bit more
morose. Listen, I don't know what thesaurus dictionary you got, but throw it away. It's not working for you today. You can try to look intelligent, act intelligent. I don't know. We'll let our listeners decide.
But before we started the podcast, the Swan was having a little bit of a hard time connecting. And I said that it wasn't accepting her password. And you immediately went into berating the Swan's intelligence. Can you tell her what you were saying?
Berate her intelligence.
Can you go ahead and tell her what you
talking shit about me while I'm not even on here? What did you say, Ronz?
No, what I said was, and I've
keeping in mind, we can't even, all we see is a still image of you. So apparently on your end, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But please continue and tell us what you were saying about the Swan.
All right. So What the hell? Who is calling me now?
Look
I'm
at me.
important.
I'm
I'm
important.
important.
Look
I'm
at me,
important.
everyone.
Hold
Look,
on.
SlapTail Nation, look.
Go ahead and answer that. Maybe they're calling
Hello?
in.
Let's hear what they say. Yeah, let's hear.
Hello?
Can
Put
you
them
put
on
that on
speaker.
speaker?
Hold on.
Put them on speaker.
I will. But it's, oh, Jesus. I forgot about that.
It's Jesus?
The,
He
It's
calls
not
you?
Jesus.
the
It's the
Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus. What does the Jesus
Oh.
have to say?
Nope. I can't do it.
Not
Nope,
Ooh, they're
they're back.
calling back.
prudent.
Yeah, they're calling back. There we go.
Hello.
And let me
Hello?
go to speaker. There we go. Hello? You're
Happy birthday.
Thank you, caller. You're on our live podcast right now with the Beaveman, the Ronz, and Swan. Yes, you are actually on our podcast right in the middle of it.
Yeah, welcome to the SlapTail Squad.
No, that's quite okay. So, thank you. This is my mother calling me.
Aw,
So,
hi, Mom.
I know. That's so cool, isn't it?
That is
So-
cool. It was very nice of her, considering you were not her father.
Oh, jeez.
And she's saying happy birthday to him.
Yes, ma'am. All right. I love you too, Mom. Thank you.
Now, how much did you have to pay that woman to call and pretend to be your mother?
Oh, just a lot of my sanity and soul.
You know, the length of that call was longer than the majority of the calls with my mom.
Yeah, what is the deal with that? With as we get older, we don't talk to our parents that much.
I don't know that that's the case. I do talk to my mom a fair amount, but it's hard to get her to have an actual conversation. It
Do you
seems
talk
like
about anything that's interesting to her?
apparently not, because I can't even get a topic of conversation in. This is what happens. This is the call. Okay, this is what happens. Whether she's leaving me a message or whether this is an actual call that I'm able to pick up.
Okay.
She calls, I'll answer. She's like, "Hey, it's your mom." I'm like, "Oh,
Wow,
yeah."
you sound just like your mom. Wow, it's
Well,
uncanny.
she
I
is
thought
my
you were
mother. She is my mother, so genetically we are very similar. She said, "Hey, it's your mom. I was just calling to see how you're doing." I'm like, "Hey, I'm doing good. How are you? What are you up to?" "Oh, not much." "Okay, well, I won't bother you. Go ahead and talk to you later. Love you. Bye." She doesn't always say "love you" either, but that's about the extent of it.
That's a new addition, actually. In the last couple years, she started saying that.
Ah,
But she doesn't say it every time.
No.
not
The
every-
other new addition in the past few years has been her giving me like an awkward hug goodbye.
Okay.
But other than that, no, that's the conversations with my mom. Do you actually have real conversations with your mother?
I try. I really do.
But is it the same thing? Does she seem like she's sort of interested at first, and then as if she's if she's meeting some obligation, and then she just gets off the phone with you, or do you guys have more than? The average call with my mother is generally less than 2 minutes.
I would say I try to touch base at least once a month with my mom. I come from a very large family, so her
Okay.
time is taken up. So
Oh.
in a matter of 2 to 5 minutes, you can fit an entire week's worth of what's going on there. And the key is just to listen to what's going on and respond. And then if she's busy, move on.
How
At
many
least
how many
me.
kids are there? How many kids are there?
Total with my mother, this mother, there's 11 of us.
Yeah, with this
As
particular mother.
opposed to your
This
other
mother
mother?
that-
No.
This mother
Yeah.
that birthed this
I
mother
have
that
3
birthed
mothers.
me before. This mother that birthed
I'm
me
just teasing
before.
you.
No.
So, this mom has 11 children?
Yeah.
Good God.
Then my dad had 3 more, so a total of 14 of us.
Yeah, that's way
Yeah,
too
that's a
many
large
children.
And I fall in line as the oldest child.
You are the oldest of 11 or 14. What do you consider?
14.
Are these other siblings of yours? Are they half siblings? Is that what it is?
Yeah, but the
So
way
you are you're genetically related to all of them.
yeah, I would say so.
No,
I would say so.
either you are or you aren't. Genetically speaking, you would say so, or does that mean you don't know, or? Is there
No,
some
no,
question?
So
I-
your mom birthed 11 children,
Hmm.
and you are one of those.
I am.
With
And
your
then your
dad
father-
that had how many with your dad?
Which
Somebody
dad?
else.
your real biological dad.
Oh, wow. He's getting all convoluted and confusing with it. I'm excited now. Now we're going to do some Ron speak. Let's get some Ron
Okay,
speak going.
you're number one. Your mom and dad got married and had how many children?
Wow, you're number one in more than one situation. That's exciting.
Yeah. Oh, Ron's number one. Woo. Okay, mom and dad.
Mom and dad had 5 of us.
Had 5 of you.
Mm-hmm.
Did mom, and you're the oldest. So
yes,
then, dad and mom got divorced, and mom got remarried and had more children. Well, how does he? He has 3 moms. Okay, all right, I'm letting him tell the story.
I like her version better.
It's coming out pretty right so far, right?
You're leaving out lots of it.
My version would be much more scandalous.
Okay, so there's some incest in there and some
scandalous.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So we've got the good Christian version of the first one, which
I didn't even get to tell my story.
No, okay. Go ahead. Make it fucking interesting then. Make it interesting. Let's hear it.
Nope, I'm done.
How did you 2 ever have children?
How the hell? Well, much like I had to explain to you how 2 gay men have intercourse, let me now explain to you how a man and a woman has intercourse. You see.
Well, I figured with the bitching and the argument, it's like, do you want to have sex? What do you mean by that? What do you fucking mean by that? No, it's complicated.
Actually,
but
on
it's
her
not
part,
complicated to those who know the family.
On her part, it's usually a not very enthusiastic response.
I'm talking about my family, but you're talking. Hey-o.
Hey-o. All right, tell me. Go ahead, continue on. He's had 5. His mom and his biological father.
Yep.
Okay, so
initially.
Let me break it down like this. We'll start from the beginning. Mom and my father had 5. Mom and my father had 5. Mom divorced, dad divorced. And there's a little bit of a gray area there, so I'll touch base with that later. Mom got remarried, had 6 more. Right, there's 11. Dad, with his girlfriend, had 1. And dad, with his second marriage, had 2 more. So there's everybody that's counted.
So gray area.
The gray area, for those who don't know, is that my dad at the time was married to my mom while married to my second mom.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, now it's getting exciting.
See, I told you I was going to get there, but you didn't even let me carry on.
But okay.
How long did that go on?
I don't know.
Dad's a polygamist.
Bigamist.
Ron's got both. Yeah, more than one is poly. Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, okay. If
Dad's a polygamist.
Times 20, yeah.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, I get it.
But wasn't your father, was this before or after he was religious? Didn't you say he wanted to be like a rabbi or some shit?
He did at that one point, if I remember correctly in my history.
Okay. As we get older, things change. There's lots of stuff I don't remember, so... And your mind will fill shit into, so that may never even happen. You realize that? Isn't that crazy? That may never...
It is. Like, I think I'm very popular. I'm not. So, anyway.
I'm pretty sure that the majority of the SlapTail Nation members listen specifically for you.
Well, I appreciate that. So, it was a pretty interesting...
I have no proof of that.
Dynamic of a family I have. Right now, I grew up with my mom and my biological mother from the age of, I want to say 6 or 8, and then from there,
from birth.
Dad, I think, moved out.
From birth, you mean? You mean from birth to age 6, or you didn't? Or you weren't with your mom until 6.
That's where it gets complicated again.
Oh my God! I hope somebody's writing this down, so they can show me a diagram later. Although I don't work with diagrams.
I went to school in Detroit, and I was living with my parents when I was a kid. Next thing I know, we're in Kalamazoo. I'm with my dad. I wake up one morning. My dad had gone to California, and I'm living with my mom. Yeah.
What?
Exactly. So.
All right, just so that I can understand that I'm tracking this right. From birth to age 6, you were living with both your parents. Is that right?
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
In Detroit. Is that right?
Detroit, right.
Okay. and then they were apart.
Hey, guess who else is from Detroit?
Who?
The Swan.
Ah, cool. That is awesome.
I figured we should mention that since I like to mention it when I was younger.
And then, so some point in time, at some point in time, then around the age of 6, your parents became separated.
As far as I can remember so far.
And then you went to live with your dad in Kalamazoo.
The Ronz is going to start crying here pretty soon. You're bringing up childhood trauma.
No, I'm not going to cry.
Trying to track this down. At least he knows his origin. This is an origin story for the Ronz. Yes, we can see you. And then you wake up one day and your mom is there, but your dad is in Cali.
As far as I remember.
So did they share like a lease on a place that you were living in Kalamazoo? Was your mom still living in Detroit?
Or they just drugged you, threw you in a van when you were sleeping, and you woke up in California, woke up in Kalamazoo?
Wow, you are just
You must be
dark.
A good sleeper.
There's a lot of gray areas that I can't remember. I really can't.
This is childhood trauma. Childhood trauma, that's why you can't remember. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. We're going to get all psychoanalytical. All right, then what happened?
Repressed memories.
Someone take his thesaurus away, because he's bringing up some huge words, and he can barely pronounce him. What did you spike in his breakfast?
It's the coffee.
Anyway, from like the 3rd grade on, I lived with my mom, my biological mom.
And by then,
while your dad was remarried,
not
making
remarried.
babies and remarried, but not divorced.
No, when did you figure out that your dad had more than one family?
When I was living with my brothers and sisters, and they had my brother and sister with us.
And you're
that was at what age?
Who's that?
I told you this is complicated.
You had to deal with all this.
It wasn't until after he started dating his sister then they told him. Is that scandalous enough?
What the fuck are you talking about?
This is
I'm just saying.
The South.
Well, if you didn't know about it, you'd be like, "Who's that girl?" Ooh. Oh wait, that's your sister.
How long was your dad married to somebody else and still married to your mom before you figured that? What age did you guys figure that out? Because clearly he never divorced your mom. Is that what I'm thinking? Is that he just never divorced your mom for a long period of time?
As far as I know, that happened. I talked to my stepmom about this, and it was a bit weird. I said,
"Stepmom, which stepmom? Number 2 or number 3?"
Number 2. I don't think he married number 3. But I was talking to her, and I said, "How did you meet my father?" She went through the entire thing. I said, and it did bring up the question, why did you marry him? Why were you with him? And her answer was honest and true. She says, "I loved your dad. I really did." And I'm like, okay. And I don't hate her for that. I don't fault her for anything. In fact, I respect all my parents to some degree. I really do. I mean, they're my parents, but it's complicated, right? And everybody's gone their own way. Whether, my father's now passed on. He died when I was 11, so he's gone. My stepmother, Kathy, is her name, has passed on, right? But she gave me, and my stepmother, Gloria, if she's still out there, is alive. But out of that chaos, I have some great siblings, right? I really do. I've got one that's a nurse. I've got one that's a photography and artist. I've got my brother who's a law enforcement. Out of all my 11 brothers and sisters that my biological mom has, we're all run the gambits of everything in life, right? We're all successful in our own rights. We're really great. So, out of that chaos came some really good things, right?
Well, and in the stepmom's defense, she probably didn't know your dad was married.
That's what I was just going to ask. Did your stepmom know that your dad was married when she married him?
I can't answer that, and I don't know.
Right. I'm going to go with he probably didn't tell her.
I honestly don't care to know. I honestly don't.
I can see why you wouldn't want to know, because that might change your perception of your stepmom and your father. But
no, it's not going to change the perception whatsoever.
It would change my perception. I wouldn't I wouldn't have as much respect for somebody if they, for one, if your dad told her and she agreed, then I think that doesn't make her look in such a favorable light. And if your dad didn't tell her but she's married him, then that doesn't. Either way, I don't know that sheds him a very favorable light. If it was my fault, if I was in that situation, if my dad did that to my mom, I'm pretty sure that him and I would not be talking.
It doesn't bother me because growing up, we see relationships left and right fail, right? And I'm not going to judge people. I'm really not. Maybe I will, but it's not my place. I can't tell them how to run their life. I can't.
All right, too serious. Let's start being bitchy again.
Well,
too
I am.
Serious. The Ron's taking it too. He's too serious. It's too serious.
Well, how can I tell you?
We opened up a scab. We've opened up a scab.
No. I'll tell you what. That's another bitch I have. Right, and as long as I'm doing a rant here, when people tell me how to raise a kid, don't have any kids.
By people? What do you mean by people?
Just people in general, right?
They're giving parent advice and they don't have children themselves.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Oh yeah. Well, this is what you should do. No, you don't have kids, right? You're not. You're a wannabe parent. Now, I'm not. Let me disassociate step parents.
Is that what you do to Fluffy, your dog? Because that's different. You don't have any real children.
Having a dog is the same. It is the same as having a child. You don't even know.
But when this is to disassociate though with those who have kids, who adopt kids, and who have stepkids, right? They're parents all the way through and through. But those who don't have kids,
I don't think you had to do that. I think people probably already assume that they're considered parents also.
Well, when it comes down to it, or people give me or giving other people marital advice, yet they're divorced or single, right?
Or
maybe divorced
or
advice might be okay because they'll be like, "This is what I did and fucked my shit up, so don't do that." Maybe that is good advice.
No,
but
okay, I
maybe
like that.
not.
No, that's great advice, Swan. I really do like that.
Yeah, that is good advice. But the problem is when you're going through that, you don't listen. But if you did listen, it would have been pretty helpful.
Sort of like my key thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Go.
I will say that. Yes. Okay. I will say that actually probably the best advice that I received, if I would have followed it, things would have worked out much better in my own personal relationship with the Swan. But I didn't follow it until later, and then I did.
Wait, what is that? No, I invented the color blue, Ron.
Swan invented the color blue. We all know that.
We know this.
It is known.
It is
known.
Yeah, if we all followed good advice, I think the world would be a better place. But we don't.
Well, let me bitch. Let me bitch.
Okay, bitch. Okay.
Here's what happens, Ronz. Sitting there, we're sleeping, the Swan and I, and we hear just scuttling, like a scuttly type noise.
No, it's more of a scratchy type scuttling noise.
It's kind of both, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
We're sleeping, and I knew exactly what was going on. I was fucking pissed because last year,
2 years
we
ago.
kept hearing. You sure? Oh yeah, 2 years ago. Oh, you're right. 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we heard every Saturday morning when we would get to sleep in. Actually, it was usually Sunday because I was already gone by Saturday mornings doing jiu-jitsu. Did you guys know Ron's a martial artist?
I know.
He didn't mention it yet. We should mention it.
I like people to know that if you don't know. So anyway, we hear a couple years ago. This is what we heard every morning, Ron's.
On
our roof, and it sounds like it's right on top of our head. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this went on for some time, and I went up in like the attic and doing all that. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I was convinced that something was getting into our attic. I thought maybe it was mice. I'm putting mouse traps out. I'm putting, I know that would be in the back of my head. I'm like, that's pretty loud for a mouse. You know what I mean? If they're running around the rafters, I shouldn't hear them that loud, like little feet, little footprints, little footsteps. And so I'm up in the attic, putting out mouse traps, called the pest control guy. They came out. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I explained the whole thing to him. He's like, maybe chipmunks are getting in. So he's putting out chipmunk bait. He puts out bait boxes outside, and I'm still hearing it nonstop. I mean, he came out like 3 times, looked up in my attic. He's like, you know what? He's like, I think there's a hole in your roof. Maybe their chipmunks are getting in. I'm like, nah. So what I did was I went outside and I just sat there and looked at my roof for a long period of time. I just sat there and just waited.
Okay.
And what was happening was, those little, like, what are they called, fox squirrels or red squirrels, or the tiny ones?
Yeah.
They were jumping onto my roof, running up to the top of my roof, disappearing, and then coming back out. So they had made a way into my roof. They bit their way into my roof, and were storing nuts in my fucking attic.
Tons of nuts.
Okay.
And so I'm telling the pest controller, I'm like, God, what are you gonna do? You got to get rid of these. You got to do something. He's like, well, you got to seal. You got to get your roof sealed off. So we get the roof fixed, and I still heard them running across the top. They might have been getting in, but they're still running across the top. So I buy this squirrel trap online, put it on my roof, catch those bastards, and kill them. Right? Good for me. Yeah, fuck. If you do animal control, fuck you people. It is my goddamn right as a property owner to kill fucking squirrels. Look it up. Anyway.
You could have made a squirrel stew, too.
I could have. But I prefer to waste the fucking carcass. Keep their tails as trophies. I actually thought about mounting them on the roof to warn other squirrels and put a little sign around their neck that says, this is what happens to you motherfucking squirrels if you get on my roof. Anyway, paid money, got the roof patched, problem solved. Okay, 2 years ago.
Dun, dun, dun.
The other night, how long has it been now? Like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
We hear
at least.
Hear that scuttling, scratching in our roof again. And I go up, look in the roof, and this time you can see a fucking hole in our roof. You can see the light through it. And, of course, now we're trying to get somebody to come out and fix our roof. And you would think, because of the pandemic, those motherfuckers would be hopping at the chance. Nope.
No, they're booked 5 to 6 weeks out to even come look at your shit. And the one that did come look at it says, oh, you don't need a whole roof. I'm not interested. I'm only interested in doing full roof jobs right now because I have 18 roofs that my guys are working on right now, and that's more money. I don't want your money. I'm like, for real? Like, you don't want to take a 2-hour job and make a couple $100? You'd rather take, a $10,000 job. Yeah, we get it.
Well, have you done the 6-pack route?
What does that mean?
You haven't done the 6-pack route, have you?
I'm not going to Lowe's and picking up anybody to come fix my roof. No, bottom line is it needs to be fixed, but it needs to be fixed in a different way than it was fixed last time because clearly the design of the roof is flawed. Because that's how they're getting in. There's like a venting system at the top of the roof, and that's what they're doing. They're going in through that little vent system and making their way through by chewing through that spot. So it's a design flaw in the first place. Even if they come in and patch it, they're still going to come back in. We're going to have to we're going to have to get everything bombed. We're probably going to have to leave the house, all that other bullshit. And it's not only that. The issue is when this happened a couple years ago too, I had tree trimmers come in and trim the trees back. Because obviously the squirrels are, all they got to do is
fuckers can jump really
take
far.
a little hop. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is so they trim the tree back, but not enough because obviously the squirrels are just like, oh, fuck you, man. I can jump fucking 12 to 15 feet.
Okay. The 6-pack thing is you get a couple of your buddies and some.
We don't have any buddies.
You don't have any friends?
Have you seen the height of our roof if you go on the backside? Where this hole is?
It's 3 stories up.
Unless you were really one of those people who doesn't have a problem with, I don't know how much in there. That roof is steep. I wouldn't go up there. I definitely wouldn't go up there. Personally.
Okay. All right. Well, that's where the 6-pack of beer comes in.
Ron,
but I've also taken a 32-foot fall onto my head, so I'm not super thrilled about heights.
That's true. I understand that. You and I both are ex-military. You and I both know that if you needed something done, a 6-pack of beer and pizza will get it done, right? And I think over the years, the fee has increased. But, you get a bunch of guys out there, right? They come in and they get it all done in a day. Then you have a huge barbecue.
Well, I believe what I'm bitching about is the fact that this country likes to bitch nonstop about how there's no opportunity and no one's giving them jobs and all this other bullshit. But yet, if you've got an actual job, people don't want to do it. You call multiple places and they're like, oh, well, that's a small job or I've got other stuff to do. I'm like, if you're a roofer or if you're somebody who does that sort of thing, I guarantee you that it would take them less than 2 hours to fix it. So, okay. And then they're going to get like $300 for 2 hours. You're telling me that's not a big return? That's a major return for 2 hours of your time.
And the fact that we have all the freaking stuff to fix it. We have extra shingles. We have whatever up in our attic. So they just got to come and
charge you the price of bringing in materials.
I don't care. You can charge me like $300 and I'll pay for that shit.
The 2 times that I've had that, the 2 times that we've had the roof fixed in 2 different spots, they didn't even offer to get the shingles. They're like, do you have the shingles that came with your house so we can use those?
Ah, I had no idea. Well, anyway, I mean, you don't like red squirrels then?
I don't want squirrels storing their nuts in my fucking house. Considering they've got a lot of area, like the entire fucking world, to store their nuts, I don't think they need to store it in my house.
So we're not metaphorically speaking as your ass as a house. You don't want...
No one's storing nuts inside my ass.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to make that distinction.
No, it's just another bitch about how there's work out there and people like to say there's no fucking work. I'm like, here's work right here. 2 hours of your time. I don't make $300 for 2 hours or $400 or $500, however much they're going to charge me. I don't make that in 2 hours.
Well, there's more to that. I mean, you've got cost of material, labor, and I'm pretty sure they're not the only people out there doing it. Right? They got to bring in a crew.
No, they wouldn't. That's
I'm
the thing.
Pretty sure this is like
a
one-person job.
It's a one-person gig. The 2 times that I've had it done, one person came out and did it in less than 2 hours.
So does Summer?
So what? You wouldn't be sparing your crew. You already have a crew. They can put a big crew on a major job and just send one guy out. Boom, done.
What about Sky? Can he do it?
If you haven't seen the backside of my house, Ron, you wouldn't get up there. Trust me, you wouldn't get out there without rigging. There's no way you'd get up there. The one time
I trust you. I believe you. I've been out to the studio.
Yeah, the one time I went up on the roof, I'm like, I got scared and wouldn't come down. I did not come down. This is what happened.
I went up on the roof. Yeah.
I went up on the roof, and not even on the high part. I went out on the that would be the western side of our house.
The back side of the garage.
West side of our house. The back side of the garage. So it's not such a big deal going up, but you don't realize how steep it is coming back down, and how easy it is to lose your footing. So I'm up there
because you should jump out of planes.
That's with a parachute.
Okay.
It's got lift capability. I don't have any lift capability. So I go up there, and you're not listening. Listen to the fucking story. So anyway,
I am.
And this is around the same time. So I get up on the roof, and I've got my varmint gun. So I'm like, I'd seen those squirrels up there. So my plan was, I'm going to go up there, wait for a squirrel to come out, and I'm just going to pop it with my varmint gun. I got a scope on it, all that shit. I get up there and realize I'm not going to be able to get the fuck down because I'm too scared to come back down. And I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm not ashamed to admit that I was fucking scared. You take a 32-foot fall on your head, heights tend to bother you.
Well, can you just go through the hole in the roof?
It's not that big.
Oh, it's not that
Squirrel size.
Hilarious. Anyway, I'm up there.
Go down the chimney like freaking Santa Claus.
Yeah. I'm up there, and I had to call the Swan. I'm like, I can't get the fuck off the roof. I'm too scared to come down off the roof. And so I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get down. So one ended up, and I don't have rope. I used to have rope, but I cut it all up for jiu-jitsu. And so do these rope techniques I was showing them, like make 6 to 8 foot rope. And so I ended up having her throw me up the extension cord. I tied the extension cord to a point on the roof where we have like this giant vent apparatus. And then I was able to get off the roof. But then, of course, now I've got extension cords tied to the top of my roof that I'm going to have to get off. And so eventually what I did was right away I went down, ordered some rappel rope. When that came, I tied that to the back of my truck for ballast so that I know that if I use my rope and my carabiner, I wasn't going to die because it's tied off to my truck. There's no way I'm going to slip and lift my truck off the ground so that I could get the extension cord off my roof. Long, drawn-out process just to show you that the steepness of that side is nothing compared to the steepness of the other side where the hole is. Now, I could fix the hole temporarily by going from the inside. That requires me to crawl up into the rafters. Oh, I didn't even tell the other funny part of the story. Remember what happened with the other funny part of the story?
It wasn't really funny. It was not funny at all.
Well, I'll be the judge
of that
on this.
This was in the wintertime.
Yeah, wintertime, fucking cold.
I want to hear what your perspective. I've never heard your part of this. I want to hear you tell the story about what happened.
Wintertime, fucking cold. It was like 2 days before you were supposed to leave to go somewhere for like a week too.
I was supposed to leave the next day.
Yeah, the next for Arizona or something for like a week. I don't know, wherever.
Whatever. You want her to tell the story, or do you want to tell it?
So leaving, right? It's freaking 30 degrees outside or colder. I hear that fucking squirrel scratching and gnawing, and it sounds like it's coming down the wall. Like, so it's like literally right beside our bed, like scratching and gnawing and chewing, and it's so annoying. Like, you can't even fucking sleep because it's so annoying. And I'm like, it's going to come through the wall, and it's going to be in the house when you're not here. And so finally you get up, and it's like nighttime. You get up, go in the attic, and the next thing I know, I hear a crash, and there's a giant hole in the ceiling in our bedroom. Fucking right above our bed, a giant foot-sized hole in the ceiling. And all you hear is, fuck, I fucking hate this. This is fucking bullshit. And the next thing you know, there's a hole in the fucking ceiling, and he's leaving the next day. So we had to put plastic over it, and I'm like, now it's really going to come in because it's there's a fucking opening into the house. So now it's going to come in the house for real, and you're leaving. So I sealed off my bedroom, like literally put stuff underneath the door to keep the squirrel or whatever it was from coming into the house. But now it's fucking 30 degrees in my bedroom. Can't sleep in my bedroom. Don't even want to go in there because there's a freaking squirrel in there. That's the story. And
so like you're afraid of a squirrel.
I'm not afraid of a squirrel, but I don't want it in the house. Like, what am I going to do with it?
Fucking smash its fucking head. What I do is smash its fucking head in.
Well, so I patched the roof. Well, not the roof. The ceiling.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a hard project. Like, to put drywall up in the ceiling.
So you didn't do it by yourself?
I didn't do it by myself, but I did all of the work, and it looks pretty good, I'd have to say.
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, all right.
Well, here's what happened. Here's my side of the story. Here's what happened.
All right, tell me your side.
I go up there
on the Beaveman. What is the right story?
She can't sleep. No, her story is accurate. So I'm over there in the rafters, and of course, you can only step where the rafters meet, obviously, because otherwise you would be stepping on the ceiling, which
and
is
coming through the ceiling.
Right, which is not going to sustain the weight of a 170-pound man. Obviously, it's not going to sustain that weight. So I had to literally go from rafter to rafter and then grab rafters above me to swing to the other rafters. And when I grabbed one rafter to swing to the other one, I missed and my foot came down, and that's what went through the ceiling. So clearly, the people that put up that section of the drywall in the ceiling, were not all the way in studs all the way around anyway. That was a pretty weak,
a bunch
you could
of
tell
ceiling.
That it broke through.
A bunch of ceiling fell down, not just a foot. Like the entire piece of drywall came down.
Okay.
And of course, yes, I was super pissed, and because I'm like, well, I'm leaving the next day. This is going to cost us a shitload, and of course, it's my fault. I could have just left it alone and said, no, fuck it, I'm not going to go up there because that's not my job. That's the other thing that annoys me. My dad would say, well, why don't you just fix this? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you sew up somebody's laceration? Oh, because you don't fucking know how to, because that's not what you do.
I've watched YouTube. I can do a laceration sew.
Yeah, knock yourself out. The point is that I don't do stuff. I try not to do stuff that I don't know how to do. And even if it was something that I could watch a YouTube video for and do, it's so much more of a waste of my time. And I'm going to spend so much more money than if I had somebody do it. Because I'm going to break something, fuck something up. Because that's not what I do. You should know your limitations. And too many people, I think, don't know that they try to convince themselves of something else. When people try to convince me to do something that I know I can't do, I'm like, why are you trying to convince me to do something? I'm one of those people who's very comfortable with knowing what my limitations are.
But how do you expand your knowledge on that, then? How do you learn from that?
I don't want to. You're missing my point. Just like when you said, use a six-pack. I'm like, no. That's what I believe that's all part of people being ignorant. That's why I believe that I'm smarter than most people. Because I learned from the situation. So when people try to convince me to do it anyway, I'm like, all you're doing is making yourself look ignorant by trying to convince me that I should do something that I've already said I can't do.
I agree with you that.
Not willing to do
no.
That shows that
you've actually discovered something a lot faster than I did. So I commend you. At my age, I have learned that there are experts out there, right? And I don't know it all. So the first thing I should do is take a step back and get an expert or somebody who's a little bit more knowledgeable on the subject than me. That's why, you thought I was giving Swan the business when I said, oh, on her password, did she do this, this, and this? And I'm like,
please tell us what you said. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's hear this. Let's get back to that.
Let's get back to that. So I was waiting for a good segue back into that. So
that's a good segue. There you go.
So what was going on was.
Did you have the caps lock on? No, I'm not a fucking retard, Ron.
No, that's exactly what I said. Right, and I also asked her to see if you had the num lock on. A lot of people do that.
This keyboard does not have a separate keyboard, which I do like the number keyboard. It
probably does. You just don't know about it.
No, it doesn't, Ronz. There's no numbers on the side of, they're just numbers at the top.
Okay.
But no, I did not have the caps lock on. And yes, I know what my password is. It just did not work.
Sometimes, if you're using a certain type of, let's say, computer, the numlock or the numbers key is not only at the top, but it's also a function of the keyboard on the, I want to say the IOP, JKL, B and M key, right? You'll see that on laptops. You hit the function key.
Just not on a Mac.
It's not on this one.
So with that knowledge that I didn't know about, I was trying to help you out. I wasn't calling you.
Oh, you did though. But you did though. You insulted her intelligence blatantly. You said something about
what did he say?
You said something about her not understanding technology, and you said a bunch of that stuff. That's why, keep holding. I'm like, I really wish she was on the call right now.
No, I you know what? You can listen back to it, but I think basically what I was saying is I make those mistakes too, and everybody does it. I mean, to this day, when I start typing, I realize that my cap lock is on, and boom, my password doesn't work, and I'm like, oh crap. And
it was funny because you were insulting her like somebody who was 80 years old who was born and did not use computers for the majority of their life.
You know, Beaveman, you are that rabid chihuahua I don't like. You know why? You are.
All I'm doing is repeating what you were doing. I'm just saying what you said.
Shit.
That's what you did.
You're getting in there. You're barking. Though. You're barking and barking until someone steps up, and then that chihuahua runs behind.
I can't help it if that's what you did.
But,
I can't help that. You know what I mean? That's what you did. I was nice, and I even reminded him, like, oh wow, man,
and I was defending her, saying that I've made that mistake too. I wasn't insulting her. I made that mistake, right? But once again, if you guys are going to keep texting each other, this is what Ron said. By the way, I can see you on cameras.
Oh, you mean we know how to use text? Because
I don't know about technology.
What this newfangled thing in front of me? What's a QWERTY? Y'all know what a QWERTY is? I don't know what QWERTY.
Oh, there's a story behind that.
Well, that's what I thought was funny was why you were saying that, and I'm like, you know that both of us have to use computers the entire shift.
I didn't say anything to the contrary. I was just saying, sometimes you leave the caps lock on, you forget. That's really all it is.
I just thought it was funny that you would think that she wouldn't check that.
A lot of people don't, me included. I don't check to see if my cap's on. I just start going on my keyboard. And next thing you know.
Well, don't you think after the 6th time I typed the password in, I would have figured that out? No. It just kept saying this is an error. It didn't say anything about your password not being correct. It didn't say anything about caps lock being on. It does do that. It kept saying error. And I'm like, I know the password's right because I have it typed in my phone on my little notepad so that I know that it's the right password because I got 80,000 fucking passwords.
Wait. You say there's some sort of notepad on your phone?
I do, and it's locked with a password.
I'm looking right at my phone.
Nobody else can get on it either.
I'm looking at my phone right here.
Yeah. It's called Notes. It's called Notes.
There ain't nothing that looks like a notepad.
It looks like a notepad. Yeah.
I understand exactly why you guys are busting my ass over this, but it happens more times than you think.
You say some sort of notepad.
I mean, probably that is true when you're 80 and you have to explain it to your grandpa or
It happens more times than you think. As long as you slow down and start to understand what you're doing, then it corrects itself.
Oh, so you're telling her she doesn't understand.
No, well, look, listen to the way you're twisting the words. I swear. That's right.
I'm only saying what you said. You said
I see how it goes.
I'm only saying what you said. That's
the Beaveman,
the bottom line.
Who wants your children to have hula hoops and yellow paint, lead-free
I am not. Let me be clear.
Let him be clear.
Against hula hoops for toddlers.
He is not against hula hoops, people.
For toddlers.
For toddlers. Can I get an amen for that? The Reverend.
That might be a little bit controversial. If you want to get
it might be a little controversial. The Beaveman out there supporting child endangerment for hula hoops. He wants your toddler to play with him.
Can you see up my nose? Because I can see up Ronz.
You're right. She is really good at breaking stuff. I like that. It's like, I invented the color blue. But yeah.
I did.
So anyway, back to the bitch. I mean, the way it's
now
been
he's calling me a bitch.
I did not say that. Oh my Lord. Oh, what's next? We're gonna get Tremonde on here to yell at me.
Maybe. It is Pride Month. We could talk about that.
Why do they get an entire month? Why does anybody
Who's they?
get an entire?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I knew that.
When you say
that
they,
came out.
When you say they, what do you mean?
No, I want to know why everybody gets their own month. Right?
Like who? What do you mean everybody? Are you referring to? Here's what's funny. When you say everybody gets their own month, here's one of my gripes about that. Why isn't it like a calendar month?
All right. What do you mean a calendar month?
Like, why isn't it January or February or March?
It is June.
It is not.
It is
always.
Not? Well,
it is not.
National Hispanic Heritage Month is not like October.
What is it?
November.
It gives you certain days from certain days. Ooh. Because then you get 2 months.
No, that way it's not memorable, so they don't give you the whole month. National Hispanic Heritage Month is from like September to October, part of each month.
Oh, I am trying not to be so politically incorrect because it would
Please do. Go ahead. I insulted those people. Go ahead. Why do they get a month?
Why does everybody get a month? Because someone would get butt hurt, right? Hispanic.
So, yeah, I think it's interesting that you bring that up, and that's the type of phrasing that you use to describe Pride Month. You're like, if the gays don't get their Pride Month, they get butt hurt. What do you mean by that?
They probably store their nuts there too.
It's one of those sayings where it's just, So anyway, I don't know. Someone's going to get their feelings hurt. I am so over this getting their feelings hurt. I really am. Once again, let's go back to the military on this. You and I were, the moment we stepped on the base for boot camp, we got yelled at for being who we are, right? Their job was to break us down.
No individuality. Because
exactly.
Individual. That's why you make yourself part of a unit and part of a team.
Mm-hmm. And you got broken down. So you get out into the real world and you don't see that. And I think that's one of the things that pissed me off is that everybody's about themselves. There's not a team work. Now, as you get more into a company, sometimes there is, but everybody is usually...
That's a good choice of words that you said sometimes. Because, yes, it is not the rule. It is the exception.
But you and I both know, and a few others who listen to this podcast, that when we get out there, everybody's in it for themselves. In fact, you see that in the military too. You really do. You see the career-minded guys, once they get to a certain point, they start to screw people over. They try to get away with it, and sometimes they do. But for the most part, there's this cohesive unit. And you get into the real world, and it pisses me off. Well, it's National Whatever Day. I get the day off. You so much as did that in the military, you got your ass handed back to you. Who the hell do you think you are to say that because you are this way, you get a month off? I'm sorry. Did I hurt your fucking feelings? Move on. Deal with it. It just...
Well, the nice thing about the military... The nice thing about the military is that there really is not the... I wouldn't say that they don't promote individualism. I would say that they want you to be an individual as part of a cohesive unit. But initially, of course, yes, they strip you of your individualism so that you're part of a unit, so that you see yourself as a working member of a giant machine. Because if that particular piece of the machine doesn't work, then the whole thing doesn't work. So that's the mindset they drill into you, which is important. Which, yes, I agree. Civilians do not have that mindset. And even if you wanted to be an individual for yourself, eventually they get you. Because even if you think that you're going to move up through the ranks by fucking people over, they see who you are. It gets you eventually. So you might make it, even if it gets you at the lowest level, like where your teammates and your squad members start to see you fucking them over because you think it's going to get you somewhere, then usually you're going to get your ass kicked. If you make it beyond that and you're an officer doing it, well, they move you to somewhere like a post in Alaska because they know who's being the fuckhead. So I think you can do it for a little while, but eventually they're going to catch you and get you, and then you're going to be really fucked. But yeah, you don't see that in civilian world. Everybody's out for themselves. Generally speaking, they're not working for the greater good that I've seen, and I've been civilian since 1990. I don't know what year was it, 98.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been out since 98, and it's just a fucked up world. And I think that's why, in my opinion, I don't think that those countries that require people to do military service, even if it's for 2 years, I think that they get it. I think that those people will understand a little bit more.
I agree. It's just one of those things where I just didn't get it. It was a hard reality for me when I got out. In fact, it still is a hard reality that we don't work together, right? And it pisses me off. But that was my little rant there. Everybody gets their own month. So I want my own month. I think Swan should have her own month. The Beaveman should have his own month.
What would your month be in commemoration of what? Just you in general, or some sort of type that everybody could celebrate?
Let's have it. Just a regular party. I don't know. I really hadn't thought that part off. I mean, I
haven't thought that far ahead.
I haven't.
Back in the day, I used to get my birthday month, right?
Wow.
Like for an entire month, it was my birthday month, and then I shortened it up to a week, and now I really don't care anymore. But yeah, I did get my own month.
That's part of growing up.
Yeah, that must be nice to be privileged.
It was.
But yeah,
it's my birthday month.
Yeah, when you're young and self-centered and you don't have children and you don't have a shitload of responsibilities. I mean, she had responsibilities, but not as much as she has now. So
yeah, those fuckers take everything from you. Your toys, everything. Your teeth, man. They get toes? My toes? No, my toys. I mean,
toys.
Summer. I mean, the daughter. Skylar, like all of them.
Okay, first of all, those are kids, though. Those are your kids.
Okay, but I don't want to share. Like, I'm gonna go get a manicure. Oh, can I go? No, I want fucking time away from you.
Wait a minute.
Clarify, that's the daughter. Clarify, that's the daughter. That's the daughter.
Well, I mean, the son could do it too.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go have coffee with my friend. Oh, can I go? Oh no, that's my freaking time. Oh, it's gossip time. I'm going.
Okay, first of all, you had kids. Once you have kids, you have no rights as an individual. That's a given, right? I found that out the hard way too, right? Not that I don't love my kid. I love my kid completely. However, it is what it is. You don't get any more time.
She now comes, I want to wear those shoes. Oh, I want to wear that shirt. I mean, do I have anything to myself anymore? No. Oh, by the way, I used your nail polish and your whatever, and after, was that okay? Oh no, yeah, it's totally okay. Now
I don't think the daughter ever asks you if it's okay. I think she just does it and just tells you.
Right.
Hey, I did it. Or she doesn't tell you. Or she doesn't tell you and just does it. And then when you confront her with it, she's incredulous that you had any type, that you believe that you had any right to confront her about it. She's like,
why
I know it's yours. I know it's yours, but I don't think you should be confronting me about it.
I mean, just think back. The boy did it too. Like, I'm gonna is it okay if I use your GoPro? We're like, yeah, I guess it's okay. Well, cool, because I already charged it. Like, you just assume that you can fucking use it?
But, he was on his way to being a movie maker, so I would have said, okay. However, why don't you borrow any the daughter's stuff, like her shoes or something?
Because she can wear mine, but I can't wear hers.
Okay.
Like hers are slightly smaller.
You could borrow some of her stuff.
No, I don't think so.
Not
because
really.
The daughter is not the same size as the Swan.
I mean, she can wear my T-shirts, and they're fitting.
She's not going to be as big as the Swan.
Yeah, they're fitting on me, but they are a little bit baggy on her. But you can still wear that. Still is perfectly fine thing. Right. I can't wear hers.
Can you borrow her your fingernail polish if she has any?
It's all mine, but I don't want to. That's the point.
Well, why don't you sleep in her bed then?
Her bed is pretty damn comfy. And it probably doesn't have the squirrel in there.
It's just that sense of entitlement, by God.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
It doesn't really bother me because I always wanted to have children. So, and I think that's it's probably because I had such a sad upbringing. I had no friends, and I just wanted to have a family to love me. So I don't mind giving up. I didn't mind giving up anything for my children. Definitely not for my son while he was going in. Then I get the daughter who's just as good. She's a little bit different than he is, but I don't mind giving up anything for them. As a matter of fact, it was such a point of contention with my first wife. I considered her to be extremely selfish because she didn't understand why I wasn't so quick to want to get a babysitter to go do something away from my son. She always wanted to do stuff away from him, and I wanted to do stuff with him.
Okay.
So she couldn't understand my thought process, and I definitely couldn't understand hers. So there you go.
No, I'm very family orientated too. I do not like not including my son. Of course, on the flip side, I do require some time alone, right? I'm very family orientated. I really am. But I understand that. And if my son decides to borrow things, all I ask is he asks me first. Most likely I won't turn him down. But there's that level like, oh, I did this first. Now, I did jump him one time when he actually screwed up. I said, this is what this was for. You should have asked first, right? Oh, well, I said, don't let it happen again. Ask before you use, and we're cool. It's like, okay. And he asks now.
Yeah.
However, it was back then. And if I want time alone, if I want time alone, I'll just say, listen, I'm going to watch some porn, go downstairs. It's like, Dad, I don't need to know this.
That's a little bit too much information to share.
No, but I think that as you get older, there's stuff that you just say because you're like, you know what? I fucking don't care. I'm just going to say this.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And for example, the wife the Swan likes to say stuff to the daughter that I don't feel is appropriate. But yet the daughter says that I'm the one who's inappropriate, so I don't understand that.
So what is it that the Swan says to the daughter? Now
go ahead, Swan. What are you saying?
No, go ahead.
No, I want you to do it.
No, I want you to do it. I want you to do it.
No, I want you to say it.
No, you say it.
I don't that. Okay, then
well, I'll tell you what. This is what I do for my son. Right, whenever we're out because he's dating or was dating, I'll walk up and I'm like, "Hey, bud, do you need condoms?" He's like, "What?" It's like, "Well, I know that you're gonna have sex. Do you need condoms?"
How do you know that? Maybe
How do you
he's
know
not.
He's gonna have sex?
The thing is, I don't know, but I'd rather him be safe. So I go, okay, or I'll go down with the wife and I'll go, "Hey, do you need tampons? Because I don't know what type you take." And for me, all I know is they're really good. Do you need a certain brand? No. You sure? Or we'll go out in public and it's like, when I just don't like the way society's going, and I know people are by me, "Hey, why don't we try anal sex tonight? Do we have enough lube at home? What kind do you like?" And I'm like, huh? That's saying inappropriate stuff, at least. Or I'll go out, she'll go, okay. She'll look at me like,
she'll say, okay, yes, let's try anal sex tonight.
I don't care if she says no or not. I'm like, I'm
gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, I'm like, let's see what let's see what I can get away with.
In my head is that he says that and she says sure, and then so it's later on that night, and then Ron bends over.
Yeah,
and she's like, wait, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. And
but it's one of those things where you can't say anything inappropriate that I haven't possibly heard, right?
I just think that it's kind of garbage that the daughter says that I'm inappropriate, but I don't say those things like she does.
So what are these things? Now, I laid it out what I say, right? What is it that she says that's so inappropriate? Now, is it an age level?
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it because if the Swan doesn't want to say it, then she doesn't want to say it. I don't know why she insists that I need to say it. She's the one who needs to tell the story.
Okay, no problem.
You were bringing it up, so you just go ahead.
Well, I guess the audience doesn't get to know because I'm not going to say it because I don't know how you say it. You just say it, so forget it then.
Because they're like when they're being obnoxious and annoying, and I'm like, get out of my room, get out of my room. Like they're all like hanging out in our room, and I'm like, go away. I want to have sex. Is that what you're talking about?
Obviously, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, you know, when I'm in RJ's room or studio, right? I'll come in, and he's like, "Dad, you knock once, and then you barge in." I'm like, "Okay."
I'm in a fucking house, motherfucker.
Well, I say,
don't bother me while I'm
house, motherfucker.
I ask,
don't bother me while I'm vacuuming.
Well, I ask, "Are you masturbating? Should I be concerned?" Dad,
why would
no.
you be concerned if he's masturbating?
Right? Or he's on mic with a lot of his friends. I'm like, hey, what's going on?
Why would you? I don't understand that line of questioning. I can understand, I guess, the first part of it. I don't know why you would say, should I be concerned if he's masturbating?
No, I'm not. But it's one of those things like, dude, if you need some time alone, right? I'm just coming down to the basement to make sure that he's okay, right? His studio is downstairs, and he doesn't come up for hours, right? And I'm just like, okay, what is going on here, right?
For those of you in SlapTail Nation playing the drinking game, how drunk are you by now?
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Or I say, listen, your mom and I are going to take off.
I definitely don't barge in with my son because I'm afraid I'm going to come in and he's going to be naked laying on his bed with just food all over his stomach and he's just laying there eating it.
Like an otter.
Yeah, pretty much. Like a chubby otter. That's my worst nightmare. I'm going to come in and he's just got food everywhere, all over his body, just eating it, laying there, watching TV with his iPhone in one hand and just eating indiscriminately with the other hand. I like to give him time to put his food away before I go in there.
Okay, I like that. But I like to make sure that
he opens the door.
Yeah, I knock and then.
Do you wait for a response or do you just open the door?
No, I just open the door. I walk right in.
I'm in a fucking house, motherfucker.
You know, and then I say, okay, hey, listen, this is what your mom and I are gonna do. You know, if you see the bondage stuff out, just steer clear of it. It's being sanitized right now. No, it's like, hey, I'm taking off.
That's too much information.
Once again, I just say, listen, I'm gonna take off. You know, where's your phone? Make sure that, if we need to call you, your phone's near you. All right, cool. But he'll mute his mic and go, "That's my dad," right? So he doesn't like it when I come down. I'm like, "Hey, bud, I love you. I'm gonna take off." I think it's that machismo thing where you don't want your parents saying "I love you" in front of your friends.
I don't ever have that problem with the son, with Skylar. It's the daughter that's the one who's weird. I mean, my son will indiscriminately hug me in front of other people and stuff like that. So it's never bothered me. He's always been huggy.
The daughter, cuddly like a porcupine.
Well, that's cool. But that's what I do for my son. I kind of like do that. Or if I'm out and about now, I'll just see who's listening to my conversations too. I'll say,
well, I'm going to go ahead and ask you one more question if that's okay before we wrap it up.
By all means.
How do you, at your advanced age, no, just kidding. You've got a 19-year-old son living at home. How many times a month, let's say that. How many times a month do you have sex with your wife? Not by yourself.
Oh, by myself more times.
No, I said not by
with yourself.
No, I was leading into that, right? Because sometimes my right or my left hand is my wife, right? So you got to do what you got to do, right? I would say On an average, one, maybe twice a week sometimes. Less than that because her schedule.
Maybe twice a week. Less.
Yeah, less.
Maybe.
Well, it's.
That's why I said a month. Schedule. That's why I said a month. How many times a month do you think?
Oh, in a month?
Yeah.
About 4 to 7, if that.
I would say that's probably pretty normal for somebody who's been married for a long time and has a 19-year-old son. Now, when do you do that when your son is gone, when your son's asleep?
No, I do it when he's home so he can hear what's going on. I want him to know that I'm the alpha fucking male of the house and I am marking my fucking territory.
I'm in the fucking house, motherfucker!
This is my house.
I'm in the fucking house!
What was your question, by the way?
That was the question. Do you have sex when your son is home? Do you wait till he's gone? Do you do it while he's asleep? I mean, not knowing. I'm assuming that your son now, because he's not, he's doing stuff online, or maybe he's on break right now. I'm assuming your son, because he's a gamer, he probably stays up pretty late.
Yeah, he does. Right.
But your wife has to work early.
Yes, she does. You're right.
So how would you navigate the sex situation?
Are you guys taking notes? So when you guys get older into this age, I mean, you have 2 children at home.
I'm asking.
Because we have the same issue. We have children that don't go to fucking sleep. Like, when are you supposed to do that? You go hide in your garage?
It is a fucking entertainment podcast, Ronz. If you can't answer a question and not read into it, it's
okay.
a question.
Because my son won't listen to this, and I pray to God he doesn't listen to this one, because then he'll figure out how we're doing it, and then I'll get blocked every fucking time. You're asking me to divulge trade secrets. So this is what I do, right? I make sure that he is preoccupied, right? And then I turn on the TV, right? So you can't hear noise. I also bought him noise-canceling headsets, too. So if he's downstairs gaming, guess what?
So you guys can wear that, and like, if we can't hear anything, nobody else can hear anything.
Right.
It doesn't. I don't know if you know this. It doesn't work that way. Go ahead.
No, he said he bought it for his son. You're like,
yeah.
RJ, put these on.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna wear headsets for his son. Hi, Carrie, please. I'll tell you what. Look like the Beaveman, and I'm gonna hide my nuts in your attic, right? And just tell me what a SlapTail Squad we're doing, right? Yeah. This is a fantasy. Where in the hell are you thinking? He's got noise canceling headsets. He's got a great sound system. Once they're engaged, I wait about a couple of minutes, and we go for it. Right?
Okay.
But now that he knows, or those who know, hopefully this works for others out there having kids, you find a way to preoccupy them, right? So they can do that. Or you let the daughter go to her friend's house for a couple hours, or, you make sure that the son is engaged in something. Now, I should say my bedroom is on the opposite side of his studio in the basement. So even though we live in a small house,
we're kind of fucked because we have our bedroom right outside the kitchen, right above the daughter's room, and our spare bedroom is right above the son's room. So you can't. I mean, it's not right above, but it's on the same side of the house. So either where you go, they can hear it. One of them can hear it. So you turn the washer and the dryer on and the dishwasher on, and you hope that that's enough. But it's not. Because
that's part of it, though. Part of it, in my opinion, and it's not like we blatantly tell them we have sex, but for one thing, and you can't go back in time and change what you did or change how you were raised or change what your perception was. I honestly did not think that my parents had sex until my mom got pregnant with my little brother, who is 12 years younger than me. I assumed that they didn't have sex because my mom always acted like she didn't like my father. They don't hold hands. They don't kiss each other. She doesn't really particularly act that friendly towards him. So I just naturally assumed they don't have sex. And my bedroom was right next to their bedroom. I never heard my parents had sex, never accidentally walked in on my parents having sex. So I just naturally assumed that they didn't have sex. You fast forward to being a parent, it's not like we have the impression that we don't have sex. It's not like our children were raised.
Yeah, but we don't want to know that.
Exactly. They don't want to know that, but I also think that it's not a bad thing for them to have the realization that you do indeed have sex, because that would be normal. Otherwise, if you live your life as a child wondering why your parents are together, if they're not showing love for each other, that's different. I think it's better to live in a family where it's pretty obvious that your parents like each other. I'm not saying they should be hearing you having sex. I'm just saying that it shouldn't be a shock to you that of course your parents do have sex.
Well, I don't think we want to know as children that our parents are having sex either. We don't want to walk in on that site and be like, oh my Lord, where did the unicorn outfit come from? Oh my God, is that the banana that was on the counter? I don't need to know any of that. You start to question fruit and vegetables and what's going on really in the bedroom.
Starting
to be blind to that.
Starting to question the unicorn and the banana myself.
There you go. But you walk in, you think your parents are saints, right? For the most part. So you don't want any part of that.
No, my point was I think that it's better to grow up in a household where at least you know that your parents like each other.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like both of ours are pretty understanding and get the concept and are pretty comfortable. I mean, the daughter walks in while I'm going to the bathroom or taking a shower and doesn't care. So, I mean,
which is annoying.
It's annoying, but at least she's comfortable. Like, oh yeah, I see mom naked, whatever. Okay. So I feel like that's better than being like where you're not comfortable with it.
Well, you guys both work in the medical field, so you made them more comfortable about.
No, I don't think so. Not intentionally. I think that, like, if you take the boy for example, he's always done that ever since he was little. He'd have a conversation with you where, like, while you're getting dressed, you're like, I'm getting dressed. I don't recall me actually raising him that way because I wasn't raised that way, but he'll do it now. He'll have a conversation while I'm changing. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking changing.
Yeah, I just think they don't care though.
Well, we do that in the locker room. We kind of get rid of that, at the dojo. We do that in the locker room, or we did. So it's like, it's one of those things where we don't shy away from it. However, what I've done is I have ordered my son his privacy. And hey, dude, if you've got to change, you got to change, right? So change. That's all, right? And having a wife or a female in the house, it's like, there's that modesty, if you will, right? Listen, afford her the privacy. Now, when you're doing the same sex, though, like you have a daughter, Swan, and she walks in on you, nothing that she doesn't have that you don't have. Yeah, it's all out in the open, right?
Yeah, but the opposite doesn't hold true though, because they'll walk in on us, but we would never walk in on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't walk in, like my son. I'm not gonna walk into my son's room while he's changing. But he doesn't think it's a big deal to walk in my room and talk to me while I'm changing. It's just weird.
Well, we never
know. Again, I don't do that. Whatever. The point is, I don't have a point. The point is, it's better for them to know. I think. At least they're living their life not in a denial. Maybe it makes them more well-rounded. But again, you can't go back in time and change how you raised them in the first place.
Right.
Well, we didn't get to bitch nearly enough, but here's what I want to do. I really want to know more about this strange backstory of the Ronz. And we're going to have to save that for a later time. We got to get more people. Probably have to get the Tremonde in here, too, because I really want to hear some more. I want to hear the backstory more. You got to build on it.
All right, I will. It's great.
There's got to be some scandal in there. Controversy.
Most likely there might be. Most likely. Yeah. Or you know what? I can add in to it.
No, just keep it real. Just keep it real.
Real. It's already. Yes. The whole, reality, obviously clearly more interesting than fiction.
By the way, as long as we're on that subject of the podcast, thank you very much. I have been asking people, do you want to be on a podcast? This goes out to everybody that we know. If you want to be a guest, contact us one way or another, and we will play around with the idea. You get to hang out with the famous Swan via Skype, the famous Beaveman, and me, and a couple of other members. Right?
If approved by the Beaveman.
If approved. Right?
There's a rigorous screening process.
I would like to see more people. I've been going out, and by the way, if you checked out our post last week, there was a message on there, and only the smart people got it. Were you one of the smart people?
No, because I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Apparently not. Did you know what it was, Swan?
I didn't know what it was. That's why I had to ask.
Well, did the Swan know what it was?
She probably didn't look at the post.
I don't think I looked at the post.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and look.
You'll have to.
Or you can.
I put that on there just to see if anybody would respond. I also put it on Kevin Smith's Facebook page to see if he would respond to us.
I'm sure he's going to get right back to us.
Well,
I'm sure he'll be getting right back to us.
Right.
I would like to extend an invitation, though, out to the following folks, that there's a possibility, if any possibility of getting them on the podcast. I would like to invite Wayland to be on the podcast, and I'd also like to invite Hoodie Allen. So if you guys are listening to the podcast, please reach out, and you should be on our podcast.
Wayland? Oh, the band.
Yes, Wayland, the band.
Wayland, the band.
Wow, that would be awesome.
And of course, always, you need to listen to our more controversial episodes so that you're comfortable with being on the podcast. But I would definitely like to extend invitations to those folks. And having said that, it is Father's Day. I'm just extending
anybody else? We can get
anybody else, but I'm just extending it to them right now.
Oh,
also, if anybody wants to send us some free shit, please feel free to do so. And you can check us out and send us a message on our website at SlapTailNation.com. You can also, of course, find us on Facebook. I don't think we're on Instagram. We're definitely not on Twitter.
Well, we do have an account on Instagram. I don't think we are on Twitter yet. Right?
Yeah. But thankfully, also, I'm not in charge of any of that because I don't want to be. But it is Father's Day, and we've got shit to do. It's also my mother's birthday, so happy birthday, Mom. I know
it's my brother's birthday, too.
Oh, happy birthday to your brother.
Which one?
Jimmy. James.
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jim.
All right, well, happy birthday to Jimmy.
James. Yeah, I know everybody's name. Birthdays.
That's impressive that you know your siblings' names. Mm-hmm. Well, but we're gonna wrap it up because I gotta get off to the celebration. As I wave to my mother because I'm not actually going to spend any time with her because I am a human petri dish from my job. But I will be dropping off her stuff.
And that leads into your social distancing extra. Right?
Yes, it will be actually loaded as an audio file. You'll get to listen to the public announcement or public service announcement, the social distancing music clip from Skylar, friend of the SlapTail Squad.
And then, I will link that in our Facebook page as well as anywhere else I can think of. And happy Father's Day to everybody. And happy Father's Day to all the single moms out there, too, who are doing dual work out there for that as well. And Tremonde, happy Father's Day.
Because just because you're gay doesn't mean you can't have kids.
Exactly.
And it's your month.
And that's a message from the heart of the SlapTail Squad. If you have children and you're gay, it is possible.
We covered on how that was done on the last one. So if you have questions, refer back. You didn't cover how to females.
Shut the fuck up. That's
okay. Shut up.
I'm trying to wrap up the fucking podcast.
Wrap it up.
That's it for me, the Beaveman. Adios, mooch fuckos.
Hey, the Ronz out.
Bye.
Not out as in good.
Oh, God.
Whatever.
Oh my God.
Out.
But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
He's out.
Jeez. I can't even say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Adios.
Skylar Films thing, what's up, man?
Who the fuck are you? Where the fuck you stay? Now back up, 6 feet away. You ain't got no mask on, I ain't trying to deal with that. I don't know where you been, I'm just trying to rap. Man, you better keep your social distance. I ain't trying to get sick, and it's my insistence that you protect yourself, cause that shit's important. I wear my mask when I whip in my foreign. My car be going, the ladies say, but I love my girlfriend, so I turn them away. I take precautions, I don't risk often. I be reppin' Kalamazoo till I'm dead in my coffin.
If you or a loved one has been affected by social distancing, and you feel as though you don't have to wear your mask, and you can go on vacations for some reason with all of your friends, who are these people? Why are you going on vacations now of all times? captions about how you're being safe. I don't have a joke here.